What is going on YouTube? Is your boy Thunderbyte29 here, and yep, I am back today with another video. But this time, we're going to do something different. Today, I am going to be making a full video explaining, some of it will be my opinion, I know, but how Fortnite died. What went wrong with Fortnite? What had happened to this once great game? Let's get started. Some people may argue that Chapter 2 is what killed the game. But I think the beginning of Fortnite's downfall happened way long ago, back in July of 2018, when they had released Playground Mode. But here's my one argument. What made the first year of the game so fun was that everyone kind of sucked at it, and then people got better as more you play the game. But what happened with Playground is, Playground was intentionally supposed to be for fun, but the thing is, the Toxic Sweat tryhards then formed right after it came out. Everyone just literally spent hours on end playing Playground, hitting up clips, and then knowing what they were going to do in-game. Everything that was fun about Fortnite within the first year, from September of 2017 to September of 2018, was now being destroyed in the very second year. And then a few months before then, Fortnite took out one big mechanic that a lot of people, most notably the pro players, had used, the double pump strategy, or double shotgun in general. They took that out, and then it angered a lot of players and people were upset. But it was understandable. I mean, it would be annoying to be double pumped, I get that. But that also took its toll as well. And then around the same time, the P90 came out, and a lot of people were so angry with this, since around the same time they took the double pump out of the game, and then people were then doing double P90 instead. But Epic Games tried this mechanic because they wanted to help out the new players. But even they were criticizing it as well, calling it the worst SMG ever, and people then stopped playing Fortnite until they would fix the issue. But in the end, for the first time, the game had its worst decline. But then, in Season 6, Fortnite had its lowest rating ever since its release. But Epic Games still had a lot to give. 5 months after the release of Playground, we were then given Creative Mode, which a lot of OG players like myself would argue, that's what really killed Fortnite. That's when Fortnite's decline had really begun. And around the same time, in December of 2018, in the middle of Season 7, we were given 2 big major updates, which a lot of people then didn't like. We had the planes, and then the Infinity Blade. But with the Infinity Blade, it was understandable why people hated it. It was so overpowered. I mean, especially if you freaking dive into Tilted Towers, you can literally destroy every building in Tilted Towers within 1 second. But with the planes, I also understand as well. You can go literally crash into people's builds or fly through them. And it had gotten really, really annoying. But with those updates alone, that's when Fortnite had its lowest ratings in its history so far. But it wouldn't be the worst overall, because then we approached to 2019 and Season 8. But then Season 8 had finally came out. The season was doing really well at first, but then the game made a really big decline, a lot worse than Season 7. I think one of the big reasons why the game declined so badly during the middle of Season 8 was the removal of the pump shotgun for the first time in the game's history, but it wouldn't have been the last. And then Season 9, the same story happened, except the game declined so much worse. It only had a big rise in popularity at the start of the season, and then it declined in the middle of it. But this is my personal opinion. I also do believe Season 9 was definitely the very worst season of Chapter 1, but definitely not the worst season of all. But overall, I think Season 9 was the biggest sweat season of all. I literally saw nothing but sweats that whole entire season, which is what also took a toll as well. And then Season X finally came out within August of 2019, when we were originally going back to the old ways of Fortnite. However, that was not the case at all. Fortnite still had a lot of problems. Epic Games still clearly hasn't learned their lesson that the player base does not want ridiculously overpowered and underpowered meta within Fortnite. Some people have argued and described this season as having one of the worst balanced updates since the Infinity Blade, as Epic Games had released a new vehicle/weapon known as Brutes, aka Mechs, and this had received lots and lots of outrage from the Fortnite community. And the reason why mechs were put into the game, Epic Games claimed that they wanted to help the new players. However, this didn't help. If you had a mech, you were unstoppable. If not, you were going to have a very hard time dealing with someone who had one. Epic Games then eventually removed the mechs within 2 or 3 weeks after, but still it wasn't enough. After this fiasco, people then were starting to call Season X the worst season ever to come into Fortnite. 2 weeks after the mechs were released into Fortnite, Fortnite had once again reached another record low in decline. But Epic Games was not stupid. Epic Games was not done yet. Epic Games was also starting to catch on that more and more people were leaving, and some players were about to start waking up and realizing, holy crap, I've been playing this game for 11 seasons. Epic Games just needed one last solution, which basically meant Epic Games needed to refresh and revitalize the game, and Epic Games was about to put this into effect. On October 13th, 2019, Season X had finally came to an end, when Epic Games sucked the entire old map into a black hole. For 2 to 3 days, it was nothing but silence. You couldn't play Fortnite, and there was nothing left but to see a black hole in the middle of your screen. Then after the Season X event, then people were beginning to wonder, is Fortnite dead? Is this the end of Fortnite? But nobody knew what was going to happen next. It even appeared in news media outlets all over the world, in Canada, US, UK, and Australia. It was all over the news media. For 2 to 3 days, nobody knew what was going to happen next. And then on Tuesday, October 16th, 2019, Fortnite Chapter 2 finally came out, with a fresh new map and a couple of new weapons. And they also had added swimming and fishing. But the real question is, was this the return of Fortnite's glory? Well, not really at all. Because of this player graph, it had a really big high turnout at the start, and then it rapidly went down again within the first 2 weeks of the season's release. It was back to where it originally was during Season X. And a lot of people have criticized this season, especially it being the longest season in Fortnite's history, with barely any lack of updates.
Chapter 2 alone will almost be 2 seasons long, and all we have to show for it are a couple of new weapons. That's why I gotta ask, what have the developers been doing for this long?
And then by the very end of the season, the game has had the lowest decline ever in its game's history. It was worse than the previous 4 seasons combined. After the release of Chapter 2 Season 2, something really crazy happened. The game started to rise again, for the first time within a year. But then it had a slight drop, and then rise and drop again. But the real question is, what could have Epic Games have been doing that they weren't doing previously? But like what YouTuber SunnyV2 says, it's really hard to say. But we also have to consider the fact that around that time, most of the world was under lockdown, and a lot of people would rather be at home rather than doing their virtual classes or being at work in general. But some people will agree or disagree. So we still don't really know how Fortnite did rise again just for that one season. But then after season 3's release, it had a little rise and then it went down again. I think because people just got bored of it in the very first week, but I really can't blame them because the whole map was underwater. I mean, what's so fun about the map being underwater? And then they released sharks, and then that's when Epic Games began to flip-flop between the tac and pump shotgun by taking either one or the other in the game or out of the game. And then it would happen for the next 3 seasons afterwards, as it still continues to happen to this day in Chapter 2 Season 6. But then, I think what really ruined Season 3 was how political they were getting during the season by getting involved with Black Lives Matter and removing cop cars secretly. And on one of the Black Lives Matter events on the 4th of July, had received tons and tons of backlash that players were even throwing tomatoes at the screen. So many people were outraged by this, some news medias were starting to get involved in this. But honestly, I don't blame the kids for doing that, because really, what the hell was Epic Games doing? Epic Games should have just focused on their game. They should have focused on the Cars update instead of delaying it just for this event. Because Epic Games was not spreading awareness, they were just pissing players off. And then after that fiasco, then we get Chapter 2 Season 4, which was an entire crossover season. And in my opinion, this season had one of the worst balancing updates since the mechs of Season X. Because you had Wolverine claws, you had Iron Man's laser, which eventually got really annoying. A lot of players were angry about it. A lot of them wanted it out of the game. But there was really nothing that Epic Games could have done. The Battle Pass was already in, the damage had already been done. And this season was a really big example that Epic Games was starting to become a money-hungry company like EA. This game became a really fun game that turned into a money magnet for 9-year-olds, even though in the past we had Deadpool and Aquaman before, and we had a couple other crossovers. But this was just the beginning of Epic Games becoming a cash grab. And then Season 5 came out. A lot of map updates, some OG locations, but then we had 20 crossovers like Mandalorian, Terminator, Aliens, and several others. And then they brought back the pump shotgun and removed the tac shotgun, which then angered a lot of people because a lot of people loved the pump shotgun. And they had bots and AIs, but this time they were a lot stronger than the ones that we saw in Season 2. Like, it can take a full clip out of a tac shotgun to kill one of them. And the game had constantly obsessively released TikTok emotes into the item shop or very old popular songs like Gangnam Style. But the season was not that bad, and some players were satisfied, including OG players who wanted to at least see some memories of the old map. But then Chapter 2 Season 6 came, and the whole map was completely changed once again. Everything within the desert area was replaced with a bunch of random locations full of orange crap. This season overall has had lots and lots of issues, but I could understand why a lot of people hated this season, including me. Fortnite had taken out the sniper rifles, and they basically took out the normal AR and the normal shotgun, but then you have to upgrade it from your primal weapons. So basically, it's extremely rare to find one today. And they once again got rid of the tac shotgun and brought in the pump. Like I said earlier, they flip-flop with shotguns once again this season. And they had a overpowered drum shotgun And then this item became the most hated item in the season so far, and then within 3 weeks after the season's release, the weapon was then taken out of the game. And then this season had added 2 new mechanics. You can kill animals, and you can craft weapons. What game does that remind you of? It already reminds me of Minecraft. Like, Epic Games basically made a rip-off version of Minecraft this season. But I can also understand why a lot of OG players had also hated this season as well. We come from a season with OG locations to then another season where there isn't any at all. Well, if you're a newer player, you'll definitely like this season. But if you're an OG player like me, there's a really high chance you're not going to have fun with it. And now I approach my ending conclusion. What had really caused Fortnite's decline? But the thing is, this argument is very mixed. A lot of people think either the people just lost interest over time, or the public's criticism of every update that Epic Games had given to its player base. Of course, you could easily blame the bad updates, but in the end, people will eventually get bored of playing something so much and for so long. I know this comment may be very controversial, but I think the release of Playground Mode and Creative is what really began Fortnite's decline. But like I said at the very beginning of this video, the reason why the first year the game was so fun, because everyone kind of sucked at it, and everyone got better over time. But now anyone can get better within less than an hour, because now you see nothing but 9-year-old sweat tryhards who spend hours on end hitting clips in creative mode. And now all you see in Fortnite today is 9-year-old toxic sweat tryhards, and a lot of them which then spend hours on end hitting clips in creative. And this comment may also be controversial, but in the summer of 2020, Epic Games should have just been focusing on their game, focusing on their updates, rather than politics. But in the end, Fortnite still has left its mark on the gaming community. A lot of people have really enjoyed this game so much within the last 3.5 years. But there's really not one reason why Fortnite died. There are multiple reasons why. And those few are just the biggest notable reasons why. And to close this video, it was not just the developers that had destroyed Fortnite, it was the toxic player base that did as well. But do I think the game could have gotten better? I do. But do I think it's going to be better after this video? Probably not. But these memories of Fortnite, from all these clips that you've seen, these memories will continue to be carried on. This is Thunderbite29, signing off for now. Thank y'all so much for watching.